In a lot of ways, electric vehicles are actually cheaper to run than their petrol or gasoline powered equivalents, depending on what you want to call it, depending on which part of the world you are in. But there are some expenses that are associated with EVs, or expenses that are greater for EVs, that they don't really tell you about until you actually go and own one. So here are 5 expenses that a lot of people find surprising when it comes to EVs, particularly when, of course, they change from their ICE powered car to an electric powered one instead. Now, the first one, if you know electric vehicles, you will not be surprised about this one at all. It's that tyres wear down faster, much faster in most cases. Now, of course, this depends on your driving style. This depends on your habits. I know people who have done over 50,000 miles, which is kind of the standard for a new set of tyres, on their set of tyres for EVs. If you are a careful driver, then you will be fine. However, if you are an aggressive driver, you can wear out your tyres very, very quickly driving an EV compared to driving a gasoline powered car instead. The reason for this is essentially due to the power delivery. In an internal combustion powered car, all of the power is delivered relatively gently with a torque curve. Even if you stand on the accelerator and go as fast as you possibly can, the delivery of the power will not be instant. However, with an electric motor for an EV, it very much is, and that can lead to your tires wearing down a lot quicker. Now, EVs in general are, of course, all-wheel drive, which does help in this regard in a sense, but it does mean that all of your tires do get worn down a little bit quicker in general than what an ICE powered car is going to experience overall. Now, the next one. Now, this of course only applies really when you do not have a charging port at home, which of course I highly recommend you do. Even if it is not included in the vehicle, you will of course be able to do this yourself if you want, and I highly recommend you do it, because the cost of charging your vehicle publicly can be really expensive. You hear about all sorts of horror stories where people have gone to hotels and stayed overnight, they've put their car on charge and they've woken up and they get a massive bill come through for charging their electric vehicle. It is what it is. It is a captive audience. If you had your own petrol station, if you had your own gasoline station outside, you would get better rates if you could supply that to yourself than what you would do so publicly. However, of course, with electric vehicles, you can of course get a charging port at home to do this yourself, and I highly recommend you do so. You will save a lot of money doing so, because at the end of the day, if you do this publicly, then you'll be charged a lot more. This is not always an option, particularly on longer trips. You're going to have to do this at some point, but definitely avoid it at all costs, because it will cost you a lot more to do. Speaking of home chargers though, if you are going to go for one, it is quite a large upfront cost. Now, depending on the vehicle, you can get this done for free. It is included in the price of the vehicle, but for some, you're going to have to pay a lot. Typically, you're going to have to pay hundreds, and depending on which kind of vehicle you've got, it could end up costing you thousands. So shop around, see the best deal that you can get, because some are definitely more expensive than others, and of course, make sure it is right for your vehicle and is relatively future-proofed in this regard too. Next up, insurance and registration. Because EVs in general, new electric vehicles, cost more than fossil fuel powered cars, in general, they cost more to insure. Essentially, when it comes to insurance, you are basically covered for the value of that vehicle. It's based upon the mileage of the vehicle, based upon you as a driver, how many years no claims bonus you have, all that sort of stuff, and also the value of the vehicle also comes into it as well. So if you've got a new EV, it'll be more expensive to insure. However, if you have a used EV, it'll probably be cheaper overall, actually, because the average price of a used electric vehicle is actually cheaper than the internal combustion powered equivalents. In general, not always, but in general it is. So a bit of good and a bit of bad overall when it comes to that one. And the last one, things that EV owners don't really like to talk about: battery replacements. Now, of course, in general, EV batteries are built to last. They are better than your smartphone or your laptop in that regard. They are built to last for at least 8 years, but of course, people have their cars nowadays for longer than 8 years. I think the average time that someone has a car nowadays is something around 8, 9, 10 years. So in general, this could be a problem for a lot of people if you're getting a new electric vehicle. Now, this, of course, can cost you a lot of money. It can cost thousands of dollars for a big battery replacement like this, but overall, in general, the running costs of electric vehicles are less, not only in refueling it or recharging it in the case of an EV, but also in the case of the actual components too. There are less components to actually go wrong, therefore, in general, it is more cheap to actually maintain. However, when it does need to have a big replacement like this, it is a very expensive job. However, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you own an EV? What was the biggest hidden charge, for lack of a better term, when it came to that? What was the biggest surprise when it came to the running cost of actually owning one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe as well, guys, if you want to see more of this. Have a fantastic day wherever in the world today, and we'll see you very soon.